是不是歌神
？Yes, I do 啊。
啊？这不行，这是保留节目。我在他心中是歌神，在你们心中不是歌神。
我们想验一验是不是？
那不行，这个保留节目，下次。
我们立个 flag， 我们到时候想一个那个，如果达到的话，我们就验一验是不是大家心目当中的歌神，可以吗？
好。
All the applause broke the silence of the studio as Zhao Jinmai and Zhang Linghe stepped together onto the stage. Interviews for their latest drama, The Light Among Us, have just begun. But for some fans, this is more than just a promotion. It's a rare moment, because all this time, the relationship between the two was only vaguely smelled by rumors. Behind the stage, Jinmai sighed. She was wearing a simple white dress, but her star aura radiated strongly, while Zhang Linghe looked calm in a black suit with a grey tie. They don't look at each other for too long, but the intimacy in their distance is enough to intrigue fans. "How long have you known each other?" asked the host. "Since last year when we shot this drama," Linghe replied briefly. But his eyes couldn't lie. There's something there. A gesture that is not conveyed through words, but caught on camera. A look that a person gives only to the one with whom he keeps his heart. The beginning of everything. Filming of The Light Among Us began last summer. Zhao Jinmai, a known perfectionist, initially hesitated to accept the project because his co-star, Zhang Linghe, was still relatively new to him. But when the first day of filming arrived, everything changed. Linghe arrived earlier than all the crew. It brings 2 coffees, 1 black and 1 caramel macchiato. Without being asked, he gave the caramel to Jinmai. "Listen, you like this one," he said softly. Jinmai was surprised. Not many people know about his preferences, especially actors who have never worked with him. From that day on, every morning Linghe brought the same coffee. They started talking more. About acting. About family. About dreams. And involuntarily, professional boundaries begin to blur. Between scene and reality. One of the most iconic scenes in their play is when Zhang's character hugs Jinmai's character in the rain. The camera captured the hug as an incredible act, but many of the crew saw how Linghe's hands held Jinmai a little tighter than they should have. The director even said, "You're making it too real. But don't change. Let it be." Off camera, Jinmai was getting used to Linghe's presence. He feels safe, comfortable, and appreciated. But as a professional actress, she keeps reminding herself not to get carried away. But that night, while filming late in the fog, Linghe sheltered her until the car came. He waited until the car moved and then left. And in that moment, Jinmai knew. His feelings are already uncontrollable. Meaningful silence. After the drama finished filming, the public thought their closeness would end. But Linghe still contacted Jinmai. Not every day, but often enough to make her heart flutter when her phone screen is on. But what made fans even more suspicious was when Jinmai was seen wearing a navy hoodie that Linghe had worn in her vlog. It didn't take long for the hashtag #JinmaiLinghe trending to return to Weibo. Instead of denying it, their management chose silence. But silence is what makes everything even crazier. Fans make theories, the couple's fanbase grows like mushrooms, and every look behind the scenes is examined like a secret state investigation. The interview that shook. And that day came. National television interview. 2-seater seats. Slow rotating camera. Questions from the host became sharp. Zhang Linghe, rumor has it that you are not only a professional in this drama. There's something personal behind your act, right? Studio sharply silent. Jinmai looked away, smiling slightly. But her fingers squeezed the hem of the dress. Zhang Linghe looked straight at the camera. "I'm not going to lie. I have great respect for Zhao Jinmai. Dan. He's not just a plaything for me. I learned a lot from him. About acting. And about feelings. Not just a speech." The statement made the Chinese entertainment world shake. The media began to make various headlines. Zhang Linghe admits to having feelings for Zhao Jinmai. Fans failed to move on. Their interaction was too real. It's not just acting, it's love. But Jinmai remained calm. He made no clarification. But that night, he posted a photo of the full moon with the caption, "There are things that can only be understood through silence." And that's enough to make fans speculate again. Is this a form of tacit recognition? Behind the lens. A fashion magazine photographer who once photographed them tells the story in a podcast. When we ask them to pose as a couple, they don't need direction. Their gaze. It wasn't made up. That's real. We can all feel it. Meanwhile, a makeup crew reveals the unexpected. Linghe was always waiting for Jinmai to finish the touch-up. Sometimes even bring a tissue or a small drinking bottle. He's very considerate. Career and liver tests. But like any other sweet story, a storm came. Linghe was reportedly offered an international drama, while Jinmai was scheduled to shoot in Europe for 5 months. The fans are anxious. Will the distance change everything? In a separate interview, Jinmai was asked about it. If it is sustenance, someone will not go just because of the distance, he replied calmly. But his heart was restless. He began to question everything. Is this true love? Or is it just a temporary attraction due to the intensity of work? A letter that was never published. A few months later, a journalist uncovers the contents of a private letter Linghe sent Jinmai, which was accidentally leaked. Jinmai, in my calm and orderly life, you came like a storm that I could not avoid. But I never wanted to run away. I want to be your place again, not just in the scene, but in the real world. The letter went viral. Fans are crying. Many finally feel confident their relationship is not a promotional gimmick. But love is quietly growing. When the world realizes. At the end of the year, they again appeared on the red carpet together. This time, Jinmai's hand gently touched Linghe's arm. No more distance. No more fear. Linghe told the media, I have been silent for quite some time. But I don't want to pretend. Ask who is special to me. That's Zhao Jinmai. Just him. And the public knows, this is no longer a drama story. New ending. That day, Jinmai uploaded a Polaroid photo. They both laughed in the studio, dressed in casual clothes. In the caption, he wrote, "Love and professionalism should not conflict. Sometimes, that makes us great at one thing. Is because we find someone who makes it all feel meaningful." The world finally knows. That love that grows between the camera, the script and professionalism is not acting. It's real. Zhang Linghe's interview finally went on the air in full. Not just the footage that went viral, but the full version that shows a side of him that the public has never seen. Millions of eyes were glued to the screen, waiting for sentence after sentence to come out of the man's mouth. I never thought this feeling would last that long, Linghe said with a straight look at the camera. But in fact, from then until now, only one name has continued to live in my mind: Zhao Jinmai. The studio is quiet. The interviewer even paused for a moment before continuing. What makes you sure this isn't just a love of location? Time. Distance. Shut up. None of that can kill this feeling. If this was just because of the drama script, it should have been gone by the time filming ended. It's going to get worse, Linghe said honestly. The audience exploded on social media. The hashtag ZhangLingheInterview is trending on various platforms. The fans claim that they have seen the truth, which has so far only been speculation. On the other hand, Zhao Jinmai was abroad for a photo shoot. But as soon as the video of the interview went viral, her management arranged an impromptu press conference. Did you see Zhang Linghe's statement? Asked the reporter. Zhao Jinmai smiled. I saw it. And as always, he knew how to make my heart stop beating for a moment. The crowd chuckled a little, then was quiet as Jinmai continued. I don't know what our future will be like. But if you ask me now who knows me best, it's him. Zhang Linghe. The world seemed to stop. A second chance in the middle after their open recognition, the management of both sides began to coordinate. not to stifle gossip but to regulate how publications can be directed so as not to interfere with their personal lives. What was surprising, however, was the decision of the producers of their drama project first. They would make a sequel, not only because of the high ratings, but because of the original chemistry that was finally recognized. Linghe and Jinmai meet again for the first time on the set of reading the sequel's script. No longer awkward, no longer filled with questions. But it's also not entirely certain. If you still want, we can restart from where we left off that time, Linghe said during a training break. Jinmai looked at him with sparkling eyes. Not to restart. Here we go. Because we never really stop. The scenes behind the scenes show how much they are more comfortable with each other. Hugs are no longer acting. The gaze is no longer a dialogue. And each sentence feels like a slice of real life that finally finds its own way. At the end of the script, there is one line of sentences specially written by the scriptwriters after witnessing their own transformation. In the world of acting, we pretend to love. But true love appears precisely on the sidelines of the pretense. And with that, Zhang Linghe and Zhao Jinmai not only created characters that the public loved, but also showed that in a world full of illusions, real love is still possible to grow.